Hi. So I've recorded this video so many times now. I can't even I can't even explain. Either the video's not worked or the sound's not worked. So hopefully this is the one. Um, so I wanted to do like an update video because I've now manifested really everything that I've ever wanted to manifest. Not that I don't want to tweak things or grow things or evolve things or just continue with things or and allow them to grow, but I have all the main things that I like really wanted, and especially the things that I found very, very difficult for a long time. So, and they've become stable in my life. So that's why I felt like I had realized some more things that along my journey that maybe I didn't realize before, even though I did manifest things. So one of those things was that I said you didn't really need to let go to manifest. And that was because I did manifest things without letting go. I was very much, I would say, call it force manifesting, where I was just really obsessed. I was affirming all the time and visualizing or scripting or some kind of process, whatever it was. And I was doing something all the time, subliminals all night. And I did sort of manifest things. I think there's sort of like little bits of like little portals of energy that we can kind of get into, and we just bring it in, like we momentarily just feel a pure desire, and all the lack and that kind of stuff just drops out and we bring it in. So I did bring in many things, but they didn't, if you'd have followed my story like 6 months or 3 months or whatever down the line, they were already starting to like, fall apart. And I now can see why that was. Now, letting go is such a bizarre word because we all have such different interpretations of what it means. But I guess to me, it meant that I let go of really, do you know what it was? I let go of it making me happy, or needing it to make me happy, or needing that thing to make me happy. I stopped looking exclusively outside of myself, or outside of the moment. I was always future living. I was like, I'll be happy if I get that person. I'll be happy when I've got money. I'll be happy, my life will be good when. And it was very much like placing all these things in the future and not actually being grateful or really enjoying my life as it was. I kind of spent my whole life just thinking that I would be happy when I got these things. And I think a lot of us do that when we're really, really honest with ourselves. And I saw a massive change, and didn't really even do it on purpose. I've just sort of linked when I got all my major things and how I was feeling around those times, and those things that were very difficult. Obviously, manifesting a coffee or a date or even a connection isn't really that difficult unless you have a major block for some reason around those specific things. But there's generally a few really big things that a lot of us struggle with. And so I'll talk through like some of the things that I've manifested and the sort of feelings that I naturally got into before they came. Because before, I was honestly very up and down in my manifesting. I was getting everything, but then some things were not really staying. It was very inconsistent. And when I look back, I could see the things that really came in a very, very consistent way. So, for example, with my living situation, I remember there was a few years ago when I was really, really kind of like desperate to get a place. Like, I started to think I really want to own a place. I really want to have an asset that I don't have to pay extortionate rent to every month, and don't have to like, always feel like I'm trapped in that cycle. And I really didn't know how to break it. I was living in a capital city as a freelancer. I'd get really well paid jobs, but then ages without a job. And I was sort of very up and down, great job, no job. So it just didn't really stabilize out into the kind of place where I was manifesting abundance or manifesting been able to get on the property ladder in anything that would be anything like where I was even living, right? I'd have to have gone to like a garage or something. And I remember for a bit, like really trying to think, how can I do it? And I was trying to plan my life out in a way that I could do it and like make it happen for me. And I even visualized and did mood boards, even though I wasn't into manifesting. I was actually just doing it naturally because I was like saving inspiration for when I had my house, of like how to decorate it. And then I remember just coming to this point where I just completely dropped it because I thought, oh, I just can't be bothered. It just seems so impossible that I'm just going to give it up and I'm going to accept, you know, the situation that I'm in. At least, you know, I've got freedom. I can move whenever I want. I'm not tied to this area. You know, there's advantages to this over owning a property. And I did honestly just give up. And then ironically, you know, I don't like to go into too many details in my personal life, but I ended up with like no mortgage and a place and like owning an asset. So, and basically the place that I really, really wanted as well, couldn't have, but it was like, oh, that's my dream place. And then I ended up a few doors away from it in the exact same layout. After I'd let that dream place that I'd seen go for about 5 months, there was kind of like a journey of ending up pretty much there after losing it and accepting it and just being like, oh, maybe that just wasn't meant to be. I'm not saying you have to let it go in that way of like it wasn't meant to be, but I think however you can just get into a state where you drop it because you can find a gratitude with what you've got. Like, I think I just got into a state where I really was like, something will be, you know, there'll be something out there that's just as good. And then with spiritual connection, something that was my main block my whole life, always wanted to stabilize a harmonious union with a strong spiritual connection. Not really a relationship. I never, you know, was really that bothered. They seemed very easy to me, but I created a big story, especially from reading other people's stories about how difficult it was to, you know, get into a harmonious union, like with a strong spiritual connection, whether you want to call twin flames, soulmates, whatever works for your journey. But that was something that I found really difficult, and I would, you know, get it going, I'd bring people back, all kinds of stuff, but then to actually really stabilize it, where it was just such a like calm experience, really actually took me, I remember just before I met my connection that is so, you know, who knows what the future holds, but that's the difference. That's where I am now, that I don't even care. Like, if it doesn't, it's not that I don't care, because, you know, I obviously want these things to stay in my life, but I know I'll be fine if they're not. Like, in the past, I was like, oh, this, you know, if I lose them, like, I'm never going to be happy. And, you know, I put so much of my like happiness onto these external things and onto things in the future, that I was always really coming from a place of fear of loss, you know, on a subtle level, when I was honest with myself. And once I really cleared that, and I found gratitude that, you know, life's actually really cool without it. You know, I started to find real advantages of being single. And I was actually, for the first time in my life, I was like actually happy being single. I was like, you know, there's lots of things that you can do when you're single, and, you know, you've got to enjoy this period. And I think something in me clicked and realized that I can't spend my whole life willing for like twin flame union and spiritual union and then missing out on the whole of it because I was waiting for it. So ironically, it was after I did that I then maintained a very stable spiritual connection. It's not like massively into the journey. So, but like I said, if for some reason something does happen with that, then I'll be okay. Like, I know I'll be okay. I know I haven't, it sounds like you don't have as much, but it's just a much healthier, balanced place of being in a connection, that you love having them around, you love connecting, and you love evolving and growing the connection, but you know you'll be okay without it. And that's something that I didn't really have. I really did put all my source of happiness on it, on getting into this union. And then also with like abundance, so even after I'd created like an asset, I was still really, really struggling with like day-to-day finances. And it all started when I started working for a job that I really believed in. And then I ended up working there for a long period without getting paid because I loved it, I believed in it, and then it was constantly on the precipice of getting more funding. So I continued to stay there for free for like quite a while. And then I very quickly started to struggle day to day. And then when people would ask me to do things, or I'd see things, my constant dialogue is, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, I can't go because I can't afford that. And I actually made my situation worse in later life because I just kept repeating that, and it just kept fulfilling. And then, so I mean, this rewiring is an important part. I just find that it never stabilizes till I drop it, surrender, let go, whatever word you want to call it. And ironically, it was lockdown that really helped me with this one, because my career that I'd been doing and I'd wanted to get out of for a while, but I just couldn't, became non-viable. So no work, nothing. But that actually gave me the space and the freedom to really be like, oh, I can really enjoy this time. Like, the pressure's off. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. Like, I cannot do anything to get work in my old ways. So it really gave me a space to start building the things that I'd always wanted to build without kind of like pressure of, oh my God, you know. I just really accepted this was a period where I could build new things, even if, you know, I wasn't making from them. And that would, hopefully I would get to a place as we're coming out where I could like feed into my new kind of like careers. And that actually did happen. I actually started really working on like my painting, my shop, crypto went up. And as I really like dropped the reins on, oh my God, you know, I need the money, and it really started to flow, and everything in my life started to change. And then the day-to-day was like becoming easier. So they were just some examples of the big things in my life. If anyone's interested, that I manifested, and they were the things I struggled with for a long time. And like I said, I did have success from real focused manifesting and really pushing it through, but none of them really stabilized into a very calm lifestyle until I, whatever you want to call it, let go, surrendered, dropped it. But the main key, and I think something that we can actually work on, is I was grateful for the present moment. I was a lot more grateful for what I did have. You know, I always found it really helpful when I did my daily gratitude, where I would write 11 things down. And once you get to a certain point, then it becomes like natural to be grateful as well. So I noticed with my connection, I never ever say negative things. I'm like just always so grateful and thankful to have like connected to somebody like that. So of course I keep telling a good story, which helps even more, because I'm not going down negative stories and negative like feed loops. I'm always telling positive, but that is because I already reached a state where it's natural for me to say. So I'm not even having to force it. I'm literally just saying the truth, and I'm living naturally in gratitude. So yeah, sorry, I'm a bit tired in this video because I had to record it so many times. So I hope it's not too waffly and my energy's not too flat, but I hope that helped. And I'm praying that the audio actually saved this time. And yeah, bye for now.